Hi everyone, Yana is here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a simple Thinking of You card using some stamps from Neat Tangled and also some custom handmade stamps. So in the previous video I showed you how you can create your own stamps using some foam, craft foam, and some thin wafer thin dies. So here's that feather stamp that I have attached to my acrylic block. Is one of the stamps that I made using some of the newest Spellbinders dies, and I'm going to use it for this card. Now I'm mixing a few colors of the Clear Snap Smooch ink onto my acrylic block, and I've started with the lightest color, and now I'm adding a little bit of a darker blue and then some gold and platinum colors to the mixture. Now this ink does not react with water. However, it does create some nice effects, so you're going to see me adding some water to my stamp instead of the acrylic block. And so here are the inks, the colors that I used. Those are Pool, Azure, and I also used Platinum, Snickerdoodle, and Gold Lame inks. So to make sure the inks mix well and I don't have any harsh lines, I'm spritzing my custom stamp with water, and then I'm just using my fingers to spread the water around and to remove some of the moisture. I don't want my stamp to be too wet, just maybe damp. Now I'm pressing my stamp onto the acrylic block and I'm moving it around a little bit just to create a nice mixture of inks. Now I'm using some watercolor paper and I'm going to stamp my feather right in the middle and create a nice impression. Looks quite nice for a handmade stamp. Now I wanted to add some gold sparks to my card, and I didn't have any stamps for that, so I put my fingers in water and I just spritzed some water onto my cardstock. Now I'm working quite fast here. I'm not wasting any time because I don't want the water to dry, and I'm putting some gold embossing powder from Hero Arts onto my cardstock, and I'm going to use a little brush to remove the powder from the places that I don't want it on. And what I noticed that when I worked with the water instead of an embossing ink, it took a little bit longer to melt the embossing powder. So maybe this is some, chemical thing. I don't know, but just a heads up, it takes a little bit longer to melt the embossing powder when you're applying it on water instead of embossing ink. Now I'm going to use the Thinking of You stamp from Neat Tangled and the new color box ink for Graphic 45 to stamp that little Thinking of You sentiment. I really like that handwritten font, and I think it adds a nice touch to that feather. As I finished stamping, I figured that I'm lacking a little bit of a border around the feather. I wanted it to be a little bit more detailed, maybe to stand out a bit more. So I decided to reach out for my die, the one that I used to create a custom stamp, and add some embossing. Now because my stamp was cut on a sort of like a different side, I couldn't emboss from the front. I had to create an embossing from the back side of my card. So I used a little needle and I poked 2 holes at the top and the bottom to sort of mark the top and bottom areas of my feather, and I used it as a guide to adhere my to place my die in, to secure my die in place. And I used some washi tape just to make sure it doesn't shift while the embossing. And here you can see me using my Artisan Explorer machine, and I'm going to use my embossing sandwich for this. So no die cutting, just embossing. And I'm running it through my machine just once. Once is more than enough. And here's a nice crisp result that I ended up with. It's not 100% precise. I mean, the die wasn't exactly in the place of a stamped feather, but I think it looks really nice. Finally, I decided I needed some extra pattern paper to my card, so I picked some paper from Special Delivery, a pad from GCD Studios, and the design was printed at a 45-degree angle, so I had to trim it a little bit to make sure it fits my card, and I added that to the right side of my card. I also adhered a couple sequins, and that finished up my project for today. I really hope you enjoy and you will give this technique a try. Thank you for watching.